What's going on, guys? This is Lady B, and I am back with another YouTube 3-star strategy guide for you based on our Sunday night School of COC. This week we were joined by Lord Byron from OneHive. He is a Town Hall 9 in not only OneHive, but OneHive Prime and the Highlanders. These are all CWL clans. And this strategy is one that he uses quite often, and he has a pretty impressive Town Hall 9 hit rate with it. So I wanted to bring this to our guys and girls this week just to get a little more practice in Town Hall 9 and try out a new strategy that has quite a bit of a success rate based on many different bases. So this one's pretty interesting. Now, you might look at it at face value and say this is just a spam attack, but it really isn't. It's very different than using Witch Slap or Gobo Witch because you really need to think on the fly with this hit. You're saving some troops to kind of change the back end of how things are working, and you also need to know what you're doing with your Queen Walk. You're going to be very careful on the placement of your Queen and where you want to funnel your troops in. So with that being said, I'll get into the strategy just a little bit for you. So if you look at the troop composition guide that I have, we are using 3 golems, 2 of which are going to be for your kill squad, which is going to go along with your king and your bowlers, and a good amount of wizards. Your Queen Walk is going to be the first thing that you set, and then you have a 3rd golem that you're going to use on the opposite side of the queen. So basically they're walking down either end of a base with your core kill squad going through. Now with the 3rd golem that you set with some wizards behind, you're going to use that once you have your troops funneled into the base. You're going to bring it around the side to clean up any of the side structures and outlying defenses as your troops move through the core. So a few things to keep in mind when you're doing this strategy is that ideally, if you can avoid that queen going against the enemy king, it's kind of a nice thing to do, but I have been finding that it's really not too much of a difference. You just might need to pop that ability a little bit sooner. You just don't really want to waste your poison on that because your poison is going to be used for the CC and the enemy queen, particularly if you are going in fresh. You need to make sure that you have those available there. So you either will need to force your queen ability, or you can just use a rage early on. But if you can hold that rage, it is ideal. So the basic rule with that is if you can avoid going against the king, that's a good idea. But if you are going to get the best funnel out of it going that way, just go ahead with it. See if you can find a way to get towards the king a little bit later into the raid though with your queen. So again, you're going to want to dedicate a poison to each of those defending AQ and the CC troops. So you want to make sure that you're holding those aside there, not for the king, not for anything else. And then the other thing you want to look at, particularly when you're scouting this space, is where you're getting your value out of your Queen Walk. So are there walkable X-bows or walkable ADs? You just want to make sure that your healers aren't getting picked off as you're bringing your queen around the base. So this is kind of something that's very new to me. I don't often do queen walks. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I'm starting to get used to it doing this strategy. Now, a couple of side notes, some of Lord Byron's pro tips that we have here are that you're going to use potential Tesla locations as your anchor points for your golems. So just keep in mind there might be troll Teslas in the corner there. And if you can, use that golem to be an anchor point at that corner to move into a defense where you want it to go. By all means, make sure you do that. You always want to have a loon available for any troll Teslas or for a structure at the end of the base. If you need to get into the core, need to get something that is out of reach of your troops, sometimes this happens, it's nice to have that loon, and that loon helps quite a bit. And you also want to make sure that you have a plan for every corner building. So whether it be archers, minions, wizards, something that you save aside just to make sure that you're getting out any corner structures, because it is going to be a pain at the end if you have to backtrack and you don't have enough time. So with that being said, this is a very simple breakdown of a troop composition. What you're going to want to do is bring your queen down one side. The Queen Walk is going to move down the end. You're going to have the 2 golems, the king, the bowlers, the wizards, all coming through the core. And then the 3rd phase of this is going to be that 3rd golem going around the opposite end with your wizards. I think the best way for me to show this to you is by going into some replays. So I have a few queued up. I've been hanging out in Blame Adam, doing some friendly challenges, just working on this strategy. And I think you'll be impressed at the success that I've had. Let me just pop this screen off and you can see here. Now, the first 4 bases that you're seeing are the same base, but I have gone through a couple of other bases. So this way you can see how versatile it is on various bases. But again, the one thing that you're going to want to make sure that you do is scout a base where you can either walk the expos or get that value out of 2 jumps with those expos. This is key here. You're using a double jump troop composition, and you want to make sure that your troops can get into that core, jump through, and get out both expos and get some good value through that core. So I'll show you the first replay here. It maybe wasn't the best, but this was the fresh hit on it. So I think it gives a pretty good indication. I had no idea what was in the CC, no idea where the Teslas were when I went on this one. So I started off actually funneling with my wizard at the 3 o'clock side of the base here, just because I wanted to, help my queen move down towards the 6 o'clock side of the base. So this was the best way I can do it. Now you need to be very careful where you're going to place your healers when you drop a wizard. So I wanted to make sure my healers were nowhere near that wizard. And you can see I started that golem at the 3 o'clock side on the mortar there. We've got another archer tower for my second golem to hang on to. I did not get the best funnel here. I have another hit I can show you that gives a better funnel, which might be a better example for you here. You can see my bowlers start walking. My king does manage to go through. My queen's working down where I want her to go, but it was a little seedy. I am holding off on dropping that third golem just because I want to make sure that I can control where he goes. And I've been waiting for my other troops to move into the core. Queen's doing pretty well here. I do think that one of the air defenses targets onto my healers at some point. The bowlers did not get in quickly enough because they didn't take the jump. Had they taken that jump, they would have eliminated that air defense and it wouldn't have been an issue for my queen. You can see the third golem is already started and down at the 10:30 side of the base here, moving into a Tesla farm with some wizards behind supporting. Now you want to have about four or five wizards to work with your third golem. So you're going to expend probably about 10 of your 17 wizards in your core. And then that's going to give you a few more to save if you can, which is always a good idea. You can see I dropped one of those extra wizards at the 9 o'clock side to help with the cleanup here. Everything's still working pretty well. Got through that main core area. Didn't get a whole lot out of my third golem, but I did get through the majority of that Tesla farm. And Queen's working around the back end here. Healers switched off of her, so I did not benefit from having her right towards the end. But thankfully, those healers stayed around for the bowler and the wizard and got through. Now this looks pretty lucky. I will show you another hit on the same base just so you can get a basic idea. We'll 2 times speed it just so we can get through some of it, and then I'll show you 2 more bases just so you can see, like I said, how versatile this strategy is. So we're back out of here and we'll catch, I think, trying to remember which was the best one. Let's go with this one. Let's hope this was one of the better ones. Now I did adjust on this one. Started with the same position of that wizard. Got my queen set just a tad bit earlier, and then you'll see me drop a wizard at the 12 o'clock side of the base where I can get a quick, easy funnel without anything targeting that wizard. And that's going to help push my troops a little bit better through the core here. So I set that golem down pretty quickly at the 3 o'clock side and try and get this funnel pushing a little bit longer. Adjusted my jump a little bit as well because I really didn't need to come in on the corner. I needed to just make sure that all my troops were going to move into the core the way I wanted them to. King is set. Bowlers I try and get right behind so that they don't move up towards the 12 o'clock side but go right into the core here. You can see that CC pulls. He's got a mixed CC, Valks, Baby Dragon, Witches, all that funky stuff. Sometimes you don't want to deal with your king. I did lose my king very quickly here, so there's a little bit of a struggle, but I get through the base a little bit better. And Queen goes through unscathed for the most part. Drop that third golem up a little bit higher just to keep these wizards moving down, and you can see I drop another wizard at 11 o'clock just to push this funnel through quicker and just start that cleanup a little bit better. So my troops made it through, taking out that air defense that was a little problematic for me earlier. You can see I drop an archer down here at the builder hut. Again, you want to make sure you keep an eye on those builder huts. And this golem is tanking much better as he goes through the Tesla farm. So I did have an unfortunate part again where my healers switch off my queen, but it's not a bad thing because those healers switch off the queen. They go onto the golems, which are doing some nice tanking for the expo, which my troops did not get to. And I set a loon down. I set a loon down because I wanted to make sure that I got that expo out, that it wouldn't be a problem for me at the end. And you can see, taking a little time to get there, but it's a nice direct path to that expo while everything is tanking and looking pretty good for the triple here. So there's a lot of ways that you can adjust, and I think this gives you a pretty good idea on just the type of adjustments that you can do with this strategy. And I'll pick another base to show you, do 2 more bases just so you can see how this works through various formations. So I believe this was another one here. Yes. So again, I set a wizard. I like kind of being able to control my funnel when I can. So I set a wizard down just to help guide where I wanted my queen to go. I wanted her to walk from the 6 o'clock side up towards the 3 o'clock side of the base here. So just trying to get rid of any other structures that might pull her out of the way. Once I have my queen going and I know that wizard isn't going to be an issue, I drop my healers. And again, I chose not to come from the 6 to 9 o'clock side because you do have a bunch of air defenses here that would be a problem. Plus I have this walkable expo down at 3 o'clock. So get my golems set, they go through. That Tesla's a nice location for me because it does create an anchor point for my wizards to go through and my my golems to set on. I can easily get my troops going through this space. And again, this was a fresh hit. I'm not showing you the cleanup I did. I think I had some swag troops on the cleanup here, knowing where Teslas were, knowing what was going to, you know, shape on how troops would walk through. But fresh hits are kind of what I want to show you here so you can see how easily you can adjust for things. So queen doing some nice work around the outside of the base here. Troops are moving into the core nicely. When I know I have them set, I get my 3rd golem going through with the wizards behind. King gets a little distracted. My first jump placement here, you can see, just a touch off. I really didn't want to open up that other chamber. It just creates a little chaos in my troop pathing. So when you can narrow down where your troops are going, just be very careful on your jump placements. I do get a pretty decent value though, considering out of that king, bowlers and wizards doing some nice work remaining through the core without having any more tanking going on. And that 3rd golem is still going strong with the wizards moving behind. You can see I've already placed my archer down on that side of the queen where I know she's not going to be able to go and take out anything. That's typically where you want to keep that one archer, is on those corners where your queen's walking around, because she'll never go that way and we'll have to backtrack. I have that loon ready to go so I can set it in place. Once I know that the Teslas are targeted, I wait for the pop on the golemites and then I send it down. I had no idea. There were all these skelly traps, but gives a little distraction here. And my wizards are able to get through and take out the Tesla. And the rest is all cleanup here for my queen, my archer, and my remaining wizards. So fast forward as we get to the end, you can see it was the triple there. And then one more base to show you, just so you can see the various compositions. Let's see, I think James had one. And again, this was a fresh hit going in. So you can see the expos are actually pretty, let me pause this for you actually, because we haven't fully broken down a base. You can see the expos are pretty far apart. And when I was scouting this, I wanted to make sure that wherever I placed my queen, the air defenses wouldn't be a problem. But I also saw the king over there. The king is on the outskirts here. That would be kind of problematic for my golem wizards. So I wanted my queen to work along that side of the base. So you can see I set my wizard for the funnel. I'm going to drop my queen at just about 4 o'clock to keep her going. And then I've got some nice anchor points here for my golem kill squad that is going to set in. My 3rd golem is going to move around the outside of the base from 11 o'clock and move down. Now, when I did scout this, my idea is that my first jump would go over this elixir storage and I'd have access to the expo, and then I could easily get into this expo compartment. Though even if I didn't, it is walkable. The queen can get into a notch and take that out. But either way, with the troops funneling through, it would still be targeted. The expo would be targeting the golems. So it is a pretty nice funneling path, despite the expos being pretty far apart. I can get great value out of that jump. And bear this in mind when that first jump that you use, you want to make sure that it actually gets your troops in. Never, ever let your troops beat through a wall. Always use that first jump to get through. You can delay your second jump if you get more value out of pushing it through. Just make sure that you hold on to your heel for your troops in the core while they're beating through walls. Okay, so we'll go through, watch the rest of this, and you can see the pathing and how well this really does work on a multitude of bases. So Wizard doing some nice work here. I get that queen going, and now I know that my queen is not going to walk up towards the 2 o'clock side of the base, that I can keep her pathing down, get those healers set, keep them slightly out of range, and I know the queen will walk in and they should be slightly unscathed. I maybe should have held off just a little bit, placed them down a little bit lower. It wasn't the best positioning for them. Could have done that better, but it didn't hurt too much. So you can see the funneling going on for my kill squad going through here. I've got those wizards already set on the air defense to take that out quickly. So it's a little fail safe here that you've got your wizards helping with that funnel to save your healers. And you can see that first place jump, getting everything through, able to take out the enemy queen. There is a hound CC that my wizards are working on. Have a poison ready for some of those pups. And then I just have to bring another wizard down for the pups that target onto my healers. Third golem gets set up at the 11 o'clock side with the wizards behind. Troops are working very nicely through the core. And again, this is very fast paced, very fast moving. So it's not in any way, shape, or form a spam attack. You need to be able to keep an eye on different areas of your base, know what's going on at all times. So it kind of keeps you a little sharp here. This is why I like this strategy. But make sure you've had your coffee if you're doing this. So queen does go down because I lose I believe my healer switched off of my queen. I did lose her, but it's not the end of this. I have a lot of wizards working around the outside of the base because I was able to get out most of the core here. You can see I've got that X-bow targeting onto my golems that got stuck in the core here. I've got my king working around the outside, and of course I have those wizards also working alongside. I had my archer placed down where the queen would have gone. I kept a couple of wizards to work on the other corners, and then the golems break through, get into that isolated X-bow. Could have been a little better pathing in that core if I had adjusted my first jump slightly towards 3 o'clock and did not go into the X-bow chamber. It would have kept the pathing going better. They still would have gotten out the X-bow. So these are a few key things you want to keep in mind. Hindsight is 20/20. But this is why we do these FCs. This is why we do these practices, so we can learn the mistakes that we're making and continue to improve our game. So I hope that gave you enough information on this really awesome strategy. I'm going to pop this up again for you. You can see here, this was the Town Hall 9 Queen Walk Gobowi. There are a couple of variations. There is something known as the Monty G, which is a very similar troop comp, but it includes some back-end hogs. So that's another one that we might do as well on one of our Sunday night School of COC FC sessions. Now, if you have not joined and you want to participate, I do these live on Twitch Sunday nights after CWL, usually somewhere around 5:30 to 7 p.m. start off time, Eastern Standard Time. It'll vary based on our war endings, but everybody's welcome to join. We do ask that if you're coming, please have these troop comps ready if you're the same town hall. If you're not, if you're town hall 10, if you're town hall 11, we're doing 9s, or if you're another town hall, you're welcome to join and hang out, or you can just hang out in the stream and learn a little bit more. But I will leave some information for my Twitch down below in the comments area, and I'll also leave you a link to the Discord where I keep all these troop comp cards. You're welcome to join. You'll get more information on what we're doing. So I hope you enjoyed. If you're not subscribed to me, please make sure you click on that subscribe button. And if you want to give it a thumbs up, if you enjoyed it, if it's helping you out a lot, I'd appreciate it. But please make sure you have me on follow on Twitter, LadyB_Clash. And you can have me on follow on Twitch if you want to join. It's LadyB_Clash. So I'll see you guys soon and have a great week.